Hello there, welcome to the Perfume Experience. Welcome back to another video. I'm back after a quick break for a couple of days, rejuvenated, and there are more videos to come. So let's get going. So the first video that we will do for today is basically from the house of Indi Noir. Okay, so this is an Indian house, and we're going to review this particular house and understand what are their fragrances and should you consider getting them? Are they popular clones or are they originals and all of that, right? So you're watching the Perfume Experience. My name is Rodney. Let's get going right after this intro. Alright, so welcome back. So first of all, I've changed the camera, so maybe you would see some settings changed or some modifications to the video element. Working on that, so switch to a Sony camera now. Right, so this is the Indi Noir house. So they are basically apparel Parfum. Okay, so basically they brand themselves as an apparel Parfum and not as a house that does EDT or EDP as such. Their branding is very nice. So they have a silver colored or a black colored box with silver writing. They have a hologram at the back. They have some writing, and so it's a basic, very basic paper box. It's a nice box though. It's pretty sturdy. The reason is because inside they've got this cardboard box that fits in, and the bottles look alike, right? All of them are alike. So we have 4 fragrances that we introduced to the decant list first, because one of the reasons why we got this particular house is because they did not have decants, and I was always curious to try this particular fragrance house because they look very good and their ads look very nice on the pages, but definitely, like I said, there were no decants, and that was one of the reasons to try them. So we have 4 fragrances from them, and the one is called Achilles. Okay, so this is a very nice color. It's called a Caf Noir. And this is called Goan Water. I'm so used to holding my hand for the zoom. This is Vanilla Viking. Okay, so all of them have been tested, tried, and I've used them quite a bit, and I can kind of give you a synopsis of each of these fragrances and tell you how exactly they are. Okay, so let's start with one of my favorites. This is Vanilla Viking, and the bottles look very nice, very simple, very plain. These are 50 ml bottles, and the cap is this way. Nothing very fancy, but the bottle is good, and the sprayers are good as well. So very, very simple. This talks about Vanilla Viking. Okay, so let's do a spray of this. This is a fragrance that everybody kind of likes. It's very, it's a little sweet in the opening. It's got some citrusy freshness, it's got some fruity opening, some apple, mint, some citrus elements there, and then a predominant element of tonka beans, vanilla. Okay, those are some elements that you very strongly get, but on the whole you smell a very nice, refreshingly good, fruity, minty, citrusy, a vibrant vanilla, woody kind of a fragrance. Okay, and this smells very, very nice from the opening to the end, and it's a very good dry down. Okay, so the dry down, especially where you have a lot of those tonka beans giving you that coffee kind of texture, but the vanilla element as well, followed mixed very well, a very well blend of vanilla, apple, mint, that kind of an element, and this is really nice. At the base, this also has some nice woody elements like cedar wood and a little bit of ambroxan, so giving you this nice woody element to it. On the whole, this can be thought about fruity, herbal, aromatic, powdery, woody, vanilla kind of a fragrance, and this is a very popular DNA. Now this is an alternate of the popular Versace Eros. So if you kind of like that kind of a DNA, that kind of a party kind of a fragrance, then you can definitely consider this. Now in terms of performance, you will be pretty surprised that these last pretty well. So you will get about 5 to 6 hours of lasting. Although the projection on these ones are softer, I would say 1.5 to 2 feet is maximum that you will get in terms of projection, and even the first 20 to 30 minutes is where you will kind of it will project pretty loudly, pretty nice to that 2 feet about so, and after that it starts to go softer. Okay, so projection is one part where I felt these fragrances don't do well, but then they have branded themselves as apparel Parfum. Now one of the reasons for that is probably to avoid skin testing or to avoid coming under certain guidelines of chemical processes. All of that must be the reason why they've branded themselves as an apparel company. And I think they have a chemical company which is their parent company, under which they manufacture Indi Noir as a brand, as a fragrance house, and that's why they have got themselves as Apparel Parfum. Okay, so the first one is Vanilla Viking, and this is a Versace Eros clone. Okay, now let's talk about another one which is very, very popular, which was Goan Water. Now Goan Water is very nice. This is, if you look at the sticker, it talks about the notes of the particular fragrance as well, but this is a DNA that a lot of you like because it's a very nice, refreshingly good citrusy DNA. Now this DNA is more spicy. Okay, it's a very spicy kind of an opening, though this particular fragrance talks about petite green, orange, mandarin, seaweed, lavender, cotton flower, patchouli, cedar, amber and clair sage. The prominent element that I get is the spiciness coming from clair sage and patchouli. Now patchouli has got different facets of DNA, right? It's got different faces. It can be thought about very woody, it can be very earthy, it can be very dry, can be mossy, but in this case it's a very spicy kind of a earthy kind of a opening that you get, followed by a lot of citrus elements which are basically bitter elements, right? So you have petite green, you have mandarin orange, which brings that spicy kind of an element, and that is what is kind of captured here. The lavender on this particular fragrance is there, but it plays very at the back. It's there at the back end or a background, very lightly, very mellowed, but on the whole, if you're looking for a very nice spicy kind of a citrus fragrance that you want with good amount of citruses, oranges, and then of course you want a nice patchouli, earthy dry down that you're looking for, then Goan Water is definitely good to consider. Now Goan Water is an alternate of the popular Bulgari Aqua. Okay, so that can be thought about this way, like it's a marine, aquatic, citrusy, woody in the sense powdery, talcum kind of a note, but mostly an earthy, spicy kind of a fragrance with a little bit of an ambery element to it. On the whole, it smells very, very nice. This surprisingly was very good. Vanilla Viking was one of my favorites, and Goan Water is definitely good. This is again last very good. So surprisingly, they do, though I say 6 hours, so you will be able to sniff them even after 7-8 hours also on your clothes. They are very light on skin at that point of time, but in general, you will get a decent smelling fragrance from them for about 5 to 6 hours. So performance is not bad at all, considering the price point, which we will come to. So this is Goan Water. Next, let's look at another very popular fragrance called Achilles. Now, this is basically, reminds you of the movie Troy, where you have Achilles as the hero who saves Troy. So that way, I mean, a reference point for that. But this is a very nice fragrance again. So if you like a citrusy fragrance, but you want a little bit of a sweeter element to it, this is the alternate of Bulgari Aqua. Okay, so Paco Rabanne Invictus Aqua, my bad. So Paco Rabanne's Invictus Aqua is what this particular fragrance is. So this is again a citrusy fragrance, but unlike Goan Water, which is spicy, this is more sweeter. It's got a little bit of that bubblegummy effect. It's got that nice citrusy fresh opening. Now this also has got some bay leaf. It's got some jasmine. So it's got that little bit of that spicy floral elements. It's also got oak moss. It's also got patchouli. Now the patchouli in this is very different. Okay, it feels more fresher in that way. It's a little more greener in that element. So both are green fragrances to some extent. This is a little more spicy. Definitely Goan Water is a lot more spicier. This is a little more cleaner, a little more mass pleasing, I would say, and you probably will get more compliments from this as such, right? But again, this is also pretty good, and I think this is one of the lower priced bottles that they have. So this is a nice one. You have grapefruit, you have seawater, you have a bit of orange, you have a bit of oak moss, you have a bit of patchouli, you have jasmine, bay leaf, so you have a little bit of floral elements, a little bit of a sweeter element on the whole. So pretty nice fragrance. Again, performance is similar, 6 to 7 hours time. Projection is, like I said, softer on all of them. So, but otherwise, it's a pretty good fragrance. This is an alternative of Bulgari's Aqua. Now the last fragrance on this particular list that we got 4 fragrances from them. The last one is called Caf Noir. Now this has got this nice orange, brown, dark brown concussion. So you got to be careful on wearing it even on apparel. So the recommended is about you keep it about 15 centimeters away. Now this is a pleasant surprise, and this is a very popular fragrance on their website. If you look at their ratings, you will see that this has got one of the higher ratings considering all other fragrances, right? Now, what do you get? This is a very nice fragrance because you get a tone of coffee. Okay, now the first thing that your mind registers when you kind of put this on is a nice aromatic roasted coffee beans, okay, along with a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of those tonka beans, a little bit of chocolate. That kind of an element is what you kind of look at, or you kind of can think about it. But in a way, it feels like a black a coffee without milk is something that you will think the roasted coffee beans, freshly made grounded coffee beans mixed with hot water, and we're making that piping hot coffee. That's what this particular fragrance reminds you of, but more on the lines of roasted coffee beans. So this also has got caramel and a little bit of amber. It's got a little bit of jasmine, I suppose, but then the caramel is definitely there, the vanilla is definitely there, the coffee is definitely there, and all of those make it very nice. It's more of a gourmand type of a fragrance that they have. It is really like good if you like coffee based fragrances. So if you are a sucker for those kind of fragrances that give you very refreshingly a good take, good energy, but at the same time they are very different to your typical fragrances that you try, in that case you can definitely consider having Caf Noir. It's very, very intoxicating that way. But the only thing is, what I feel about this particular fragrance is all of them, if they had a little bit better projection, okay, they would have done a fantastic job. But otherwise, nonetheless, this starts off as a black coffee, a caramel, vanilla kind of a fragrance, and then after some time, this becomes more of a vanilla, fragrance, dry down with a little bit of coffee in here and there. So that way, this is a very nice fragrance to consider. In fact, I think of all of them, if I were to rate one of the favorites, most favorites is definitely Vanilla Viking for me. Is really, really good. That vanilla dry down that it has is wonderful. Same is the story with Caf Noir. Both of them are fab fragrances. So like I said, this particular house starts at about 650 rupees. I think they have fresh dive, which is around that price point, which is an alternative of cool water, I suppose. But then you have a lot of other fragrances. They have a lot of oud fragrances also. They are basically alternates of popular brand, except for this one. I could not figure out which one this is. From the note, or I could think about this as maybe a fragrance like kerosene followed, but then I'm not too sure because that's got some excellent projection and lasting. This is not so much, but the roasted coffee beans, vanilla, all of that smell like that, right? Overall, yes, you can definitely consider this house as a decent house. Now, in terms of fragrance quality, you do not get the quality that you want like Middle Eastern type of houses. Okay, definitely no. Okay, I would say that they are not like Middle Eastern type of quality of houses, like not like Latafa quality or like Alarmain or Afna, not that quality at all, but definitely a good quality considering Indian houses. The part that you don't get is you don't get that alcohol blast that is associated with synthetic elements. You don't get that. All of the components that are there are of course synthetic. They don't feel very natural, but at the price point in which they come, they are okay because they come around 850 rupees to 1350 for about 50 ml. At that price point, pretty good, and they've done pretty well. There is no reviews of this particular house. You don't see a lot of crazy ads and anything. They are very modest, very decent way of Facebook ads as such. So that way they have kept themselves pretty decently well, and the brand is pretty doing well as well. So I'm happy that we were able to get all of these fragrances. So I think there was an offer. You buy 3, you get 1 4. So that's how we bought, and we have them on decant still. So I think a couple of units of each of them are still available in case you want to try them before you kind of blind buy these fragrances. But yes, definitely good house, and I think we can expect better. So probably the only thing that is required is a little bit more refinement in terms of the quality of scent profile. They need to be a little more lighter, a little more airy. That's the only thing that I think I would say as a feedback, but otherwise the bottles are okay, the packaging is okay, the fragrances are okay, the lasting is good, the projection is a softer projection on all of them, and sillage is okay, trail is okay, not bad at all. You will enjoy the fragrance that you have on you, right? So if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe and share, and let me know more Indian houses that you would like me to recommend or review, right? So see you on the next video. Until another time, take care. Bye now.